Lisa Simpson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. Music to my ears. My entire life over. A fourth cup of coffee of the day, and I want to take a nap. I want fucking hand soap.
But I thought I'd give you like a little room tour now that it's done, so let's get on to that. So from my door, here's my door.
버스가 도착합니다. 위퍼마운이
Howdy y'all, how's this lighting? A little too dramatic if you ask me. But just a quick check-in. I'm stressed. Just like life stuff in general, but I just wanted to do a quick update. Reading Martyr. Y'all, you know when you're like reading a book that fits reality so perfectly, almost too closely, like a mirror, and you're just like, wow, art is speaking to life, life is speaking to art. Just that communication right now is so beautifully done. I don't know, it's coming to me at the right time, I think is what I'm trying to say. We have our boy Cyrus, who's preoccupied with so much trauma where he essentially doesn't want to live anymore, but he wants his death to matter. That's where the title comes from. And it's this exploration of like, not so much what does it mean to live a meaningful life, but rather what does it mean to lead up to a meaningful death? It just shifted something in me. It's just like, am I living towards something, or am I living to conjure, gather, create this cornucopia of so many feelings, histories, and experiences to embody what will be a restful death? I don't have an answer, but it has been a wholesome experience seeing the world through Cyrus's eyes. And though he's not like the best person in the world, he's actually probably the worst person in the world. If we're talking about like, do you remember the movie, The Worst Person in the World? Cyrus is that person, not that Daisy chick or whoever her name was. Not her, no. It's Cyrus, because he's down and out. He's quite a loser. He's kind of mean. He's funny too. What I love about this is that it's so unabashedly human. It's so full of life, but like also so full of agony, balanced out with like great humor and some brilliant lines and brilliant moments. I think this is gonna be like a 5-star read for me. Also biased because yeah, it's very timely for me personally. Here's this line I want to read you. Like there are moments where Kaveh Akbar just surprises you with his writing, and here's this line here. A photograph can say, this is what it was. Language can only say, this is what it was like. Akbar is such a brilliant writer where he's able to balance the surreal and absurd while also grounding us so close to reality in the depths of characterizing Cyrus. Though he's a loser and he's mean and he's sort of that down and out guy that you like take one first glance at and you hate immediately. When you start to swim within his feelings and his history, you understand where all of it comes from, and he's just a deeply pained person. He just has to move through it, and we're moving through it with him. And it's just rendered so realistically. It's so gritty, it's so real, but there are moments where the literary fiction like takes flight, and it's beautifully done, beautifully done. More thoughts to come, more lines to share, because I've highlighted quite a bit of stuff and has got me thinking. I think I appreciate my life, like how much I've lived. I appreciate like all the love too. I like appreciate you, especially. Like I'm not here without any of you, but also I'm not here without any of the books I've read, and I'm not here without what I've lived through, who I've lived through, why I've lived through, and the how. We'll throw in the how too. I get it. I get it. I get it when people say, like, life is a miracle. Sometimes I don't believe it. Not at all, no. More thoughts to come. I don't know if I'll finish this. It is the last day of November. I don't know if I'll finish this. Why did I think there were 31 days in November? Anyway, I thought I had like an extra day to sort of like go through this. I'm on page 200 out of 3 something. So I'm close to finishing, as you can see there. I don't know. I've been taking my time, or it feels like I'm taking my time with it, but I just want to like simmer and rest in this world a bit longer. So I've just been now pacing myself through it all. Anyway, I just want to say, in the dark, in the dark of my room, I appreciate you. Your life matters, and the books that you read add to the matter. This is why literary fiction is important. Y'all better read more. Yeah, y'all better not stop. Like, keep going, keep reading. Yeah, whatever comes to be is who you are. I think it's beautiful. Am I cringe? Is this cringe? Anyway, y'all. I'll keep y'all posted however this is edited, but be well, do good work. Keep in touch. Boy Nate, I read books because reading is sexy, and if you're not reading, you're not sexy. I don't know why I do this to myself, y'all. I've got some books to talk about, and there's just way too much. I'm not well. Let me tell you that. We're in December. It's just end of the year finalities. Always like this, end of the year, very busy. I'm sure everyone's like this too. What do we have here? We have our 4th cup of coffee of the day, and I want to take a nap. Friday happened. I had a business trip, went into the city, and then afterwards I was like, I'm gonna go home because I'm so exhausted. And I just stopped by LCDC. I think you've seen it before. It's essentially this cute plaza with a bunch of like smaller boutiques within it. They had like this holiday giveaway thing that I saw on Instagram, and I was like, I love me free stuff. Don't cost me a penny. But y'all, they ran me through a raffle. I won fucking hand soap. It does smell good though. Floral, with like a hint of that Christmas cheer to it. The guy there, there was like nobody there because it was the first day, I believe. And he was just like, here, take all of these cards. So this will be nice. They're just, it's a LCDC in the shape of a briefcase, but like a little note card. I think this will be really cute to add on Christmas gifts and such. I have a lot. I mean, it'll be nice, like, thank you cards. I am running out, so this will be nice. Don't have to make my way to Daiso, you know? Let's see. Oh yes, I mostly went there to get this fucking pen, because I don't know if I left it at another office that I go to, I'm going in on Monday to check. I really hope it's still there because I left my journal there too, and that just has like secrets in it that like, if my work read that, dunzos, my entire life over. Yeah, but attached to the notebook was my favorite pen. I've been really liking this. This is 0.5. I don't usually do 0.5, but it's from Japan. It's uni, because I just love the shape of this. And I love like the clip here. Like it just clips onto things. I find that like if I ever lean over and I have like a pen in my pocket, it falls out, but this, it just like stays on in the pocket. It just has a really satisfying, fun click to it. Music to my ears. The size of this is just like perfect. I love it. And it doesn't hurt at all. I find like when I have tiny pens, my hand tends to hurt, but this one just like feels really nice in the hand. I love it. Fun sized. So I did that. I also did a bit of reading. We have to talk about some stuff. Let's see, I finished this first, so we'll talk about this. God, we have much to talk about. But y'all, Martyr, when life meets art and art meets life, and the text is just speaking to your life, and it feels like, you ever hear that song and the lyrics, the way it swells with the melody and the harmony of the instrumentals, and that song sounds like it's like specifically sung for you. This is what this book was doing to me. And I'm gonna come from a very biased point of view, but this just does it for me. But what we have is our loser, Cyrus, Iranian, and he's entering a novel that he's not really writing, but is supposed to be writing, while also dealing with a lot of trauma. And he meets this Iranian artist at the Brooklyn Museum who has this performance art where it's her just dying of stage 4 breast cancer. And it's dealing a lot about grief, less about what it means to be alive and more about how do I come to a wholesome death. So it is really the totality of a lived experience versus the living of it. It's the aim towards totality that I appreciate Akbar exploring in here. With this guy that you don't really like because he's kind of an asshole, he's a loser, and yet there's still so much heart to him. Reminds me a lot of that MTV book that came out like years ago when MTV Books was like the hit of the thing. The Fuck Up by Arthur Nersesian. I remember enjoying that book a lot because it really captured the ennui of winter in New York and just being a lousy hipster who just hated life. And it's kind of like this, but our protagonist here has a lot more heart. It's really beautiful. It's messy in its construction because Akbar is a poet whose poems I've not read, but it is a poet's novel. There are moments where it swells. It almost brought me to tears, but it's messy in its construction given that it's told in many different parts, almost like vignettes. We get narrations from his father, for example, and his mother, stuff in dreams, Lisa Simpson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. So that's where it gets a little messy in its construction and where my bias comes in, because it isn't a perfect novel. It's imperfect, but the perfections that I see in it are because it's working within my life and my life is speaking to it, and it's in that communion that from my heart I give it 5 stars, but on Goodreads I gave it 4. If that makes any sense at all, y'all. Like it matters. But this book does matter because I think it's incredibly refreshing for anyone who feels that like their life isn't worth living. Yeah, I've been asking myself a lot of questions, and I think this book asked the questions a lot better. More so in the hows and the whys that I've just been blindsided by or have been in my peripheral. Yeah, this book clarified the questions within what it means to be alive, feel alive, reconstructs like how I see death. And death is always such a hard thing to talk about. It's always a strange poke that never is easy, never gets easier. I think this might end up in top 10. I haven't decided yet because I'm forming the list now, and I just finished a top 10 book as well. It's just like, why am I squeezing all of these goodies in the last month? Like I'm saving them for the best. saving the best for last or whatever. Anyway, Martyr, this is out by Kaveh, January 2024. Whenever this video comes out, this will probably be out. And you should pick it up because it's really refreshing. It's about God. Nobody talks about God anymore. I feel like the last book that really talked about God in a wholesome way is Pure Color by Sheila Heti, I think. Maybe. There's nothing biblical about it. And God is talked about here from an Iranian point of view, which I really enjoyed. But yeah, this was refreshing. Thank you, Akbar. Kaveh Akbar, if you have come upon this video somehow, thank you for writing this. Yeah, thank you, really, thank you. I think my heart much needed this, especially as the year is ending and I'm tidying up some feelings, if you will. Okay, and then after that, I read Roland Barthes' The Pleasure of the Text. First half of this is really Barthes being that one guy at a house party who name drops a bunch and hopes you don't know who any of these people are because he wants to feel special, and then continues on to sort of mansplains things to you. That's what this is giving. But what this is about is dissecting bliss from pleasure when it comes to the language within the texts. We pick up how reading is almost sort of a erotic experience. The body of the text is almost physical in that it's sensual and meant to be felt, touched, and bring affection to one's own life. It's good. The rest of the 80% is really, really good, actually. And there are moments where passion comes up and his prose really swells and there's this rhythm to his language and he means well and it comes from a lot of heart, which I appreciated. Like, we're all here because books are pleasurable, and though we may not know the difference between bliss and pleasure, this tidies that up black and white. It's beautiful. Oh, I also have several short sentences about writing by Verlin Klinkenberg. I feel like this is essentially the sentiments of this. We're talking about sex. Barthes explains what sex is to you. Klinkenberg shows you what sex is. Makes you feel what sex is. Anyway, I just wanted to bring this up because I do use this for work quite frequently. It's just something that I sort of like breeze through every once in a while and like I just flip to any page. It's basically just a collection of sentences. There's no narrative structure, but you follow these sentences and you realize the magic that is occurring within language and the prose and what a sentence can do and the way it moves, stops, creates rhythm, ripples. It's just a nice book to have if you are in a writing block, in a slump, and just need something to sort of stir you and gear towards like the actual work. Because I feel like blocks, they really do halt and put you to a stop to working, but this one, at least it like forces you to grind, which is sometimes the case for me. This is always nice. It is several short sentences about writing, yes. If you need to do a pairing, these two are fun. And then all of yesterday, I finished Joan Didion's Miami, as it is already -4, y'all, in Celsius, and I just needed something to warm me up. So I read a bit about Miami from Didion's perspective. And y'all, she captures the very strangeness that is Florida, mostly Miami per se. And for the 60s through the 80s, this sort of paranoia that developed politically within Miami's realm. And the first sort of 80 pages is sort of an introduction to the landscape of Miami, which I appreciated more, was hoping more of. But the last, like, rest of the book is just the paranoia of what it means for men to be in power, how money flows and where it goes and how it stops because there are murders and it's crazy. Like, those times are crazy. I want to know, like, if any, like, older people are watching me, like, how did y'all deal with sort of the political paranoia that was happening during that time? But like post Watergate, how the heck did you trust government? Like, now I feel like it's so easy to say that you don't trust the government. You just can't trust government or like the world at large when it comes to politics. But like Watergate, I feel like just like changed America stigma. Watergate, Vietnam, all of that. Like how? How did you deal with that? Is dealing with it similar to how we deal with politics now? I bookmarked this portion here because I want to read it to you. It seemed that the pink had shimmered in the water. It seemed that the pink had kept changing color, fading and re-emerging with the movement of the water and the clouds and the sun and the night lights. It seemed that this period, when the pink was in the water, had for many people exactly defined, as the backlit islands and the fluorescent water and the voices at the table were that night defining for me Miami. I think that captures the very sentiment of strange warmth, moist nature of Miami. I don't think most people will find this interesting, not something that I would recommend, but as a Didion completionist, it's I found this quite boring because I didn't really care for the political parts, also because there was just way too much, I think, within that time period. Hard to stomach from an interest-based point of view. I appreciated the sort of poetic atmosphere that she wanted to color Miami in. The politics was boring. If Didion writes about politics, I'll read it. By anybody else, I won't. And yeah, she made it interesting, at least, to have me get to the end. Joan Didion, Miami. Last book I want to talk about, because I just finished it moments ago, and I really do need to write about it, but y'all, to be honest, I think I'm due for like a laptop upgrade, but I really like the size of my MacBook. It's not even more than 11 inches, which I love. It's so compact. But like all of these new MacBooks, y'all, way too big. And I'm just like, I don't need the full 12 inches, y'all. Don't give me that. This is also awful because for this book, I've literally highlighted like 70% of the book. It's awful. I need a physical copy of this. I begged FSG, and of course FSG puts me on red. If anybody is out there and works for FSG, please put me on the PR list. Send me a physical copy. But by the time I put out this video, it will probably be out anyway. But y'all, it is Alphabetical Diaries by Sheila Heti. This is out by FSG. Y'all, this is a 5-star read. Sheila Heti does it again. Like, I cannot stress enough how much I love Sheila Heti. Every single book, everything she does is phenomenal, really. But this is what it is. It is her diaries alphabetized. I didn't exactly know what this meant, but like, for example, the A portion, every single sentence within that portion begins with A. And it's really interesting how you track the order alphabetically with some of these portions. For example, the B section, sentences that begin with B will start with B, like to be, and then transition to because. Basically, portions G to H, it follows get to have. For the M portion, sentences begin with make and then move on to maybe, which I think is brilliant because when you have something made, is it completed? Is it defined? And why does definition out of creation follow doubt from make to maybe? Why is there doubt in our own creations in what we feel is fully defined? And I think that's why our definitions of love change all the time. Our definitions of life change all the time because there is doubt. No matter how much we think we live and live on and create moments, memories, explanations, solid thoughts that ground us in who we are, why is there still doubt? And I think that is just the process of life, right? O, sentences beginning with O, start with one. One must do this, one must do that, and then changes to our by the end of the portion. And it's just beautiful in that singularity to this shared experience with our that I found brilliant. Oh, and I loved this. There was only one line for Q, and it is quiet days, not seeing people, feeling fine. God, and it really is just her life. It's really hard to define. At first, it's a bit odd, but because of the stark contrast between certain things, but I think that's where Sheila Heti as writer is really good at curating and organizing the language around her personal life. There'll be certain lines and then she'll strike you with something incredibly funny and odd, and it's funny. Like, Sheila Heti is funny. And I think she wants it to be known that she is funny, and she's hilarious. I think there is a sense of humor I feel in her writing, even in the strange, serious moments as well. This is where I realized, I think, where Miranda July is funny and strange, I think Sheila Heti is the same, but there's this underlying seriousness that I think speaks a lot more to life itself and thematically her works themselves. That's where I think Miranda July doesn't fully succeed and doesn't fully land. I think her work ends in sentimentality, while Sheila Heti, there's almost this higher power within her work that goes beyond sentimentality and aims and pierces right at the heart, and it just works for me all the time. She hits the mark, and she knows what she's doing. Though you might find that some of the ways that she writes quite gimmicky, like for, say, motherhood and the flip of the coin, and how it sort of navigates the novel. And here you have the organization of her diaries alphabetically. She knows when something is a tool and when something can actually work and create something prophetic, because it's within this curation and this organization, skillfully done, that I think adds to the weight of what the book is doing. The book aims to look at the vulnerabilities of living as a writer, living as a woman, aims to show the totality of a lived experience, even though she's still living, even though I don't know when these journal entries are dated. But here she is taking lived experience from her journals, diaries, and creating art out of it. It's just so brilliantly done, and it's a 5-star read for me. Much like questions that were explored here about living and dying, Alphabetical Diaries does explore the same things. This is also speaking to my life. There's just this raw honesty through these entries that will shape me differently, I think, within my discipline, as a writer, as a human being, and as someone who just loves, repeatedly, you'll see that Sheila Heti just wants to love. She is a being that just craves love and wanting to be loved, and God, that honesty is so real and raw, and I pledge her for it. Major props to her for having created this work. I loved it. God, I can read you so many lines. Let me find you one. Ooh, I love this. I am too tired to go out into the world. I am too ugly to be in a video on YouTube. I am trying to learn from the Helen DeWitt book, but what is there to learn except that it works? So good. I want to spend my birthday writing, and for my book to be present to myself, and to just spend the whole day alone in that satisfying way. The duty is to love, but love creates the duty. It is loss and change. It is loss and pain. It is Monday. It is my blood. It is nearly 4 in the morning. It is nearly 2 in the morning, essentially the 30th, but the day doesn't end until I fall asleep. It's never certain, never safe. It is nice to have a friend I can be jealous of. And it's just those stark contrasts within jumpings of time and jumpings of emotion and feeling, and the sentences themselves, that provide such a rich lived experience. What is it? I was watching a video, if I remember, I'll insert the creator down below, but he had this review of A Little Life, and though whatever you may say about A Little Life, I think there's a lot to be talked about there. And he was saying that whether or not you've lived a painful life, or a less painful life, or a painless life, that is life still lived. And life still lived is something that is worth experiencing. Life itself is an experience, and it is meant to be felt deeply through all stretches. And sure, you can conjure up what is fair and what is not, but life doesn't care. Life really doesn't care whether something is fair or not. But I think it does care that you live through it and experience it fully. And yeah, some of it is a lot heavier for others. And yeah, I envy those that live much lighter lives. It's not fair, it really isn't. But I think here we have a very, very weighted life in portions. Heti reminds us there is weight to existence. Yeah, much waiting for the lighter moments in life. 5-star read, y'all. Pick this up. Sheila Heti fans, stans, rise, rise. This is so good. Please pick this up. Also, quick mention, I'm a bookshop affiliate. Very proud. bookshop.org is a great place for picking up your books because they come from independent booksellers. So you are helping independent booksellers online, even if you can't support them in store. Just support them all. And yeah, if you follow my affiliate link, it gives me a bit of hope, a bit of courage to continue because it supports the coffee addiction. Help me y'all, help me feed the addiction. Anyway, I hate doing these sort of like 30-minute sit down chats about so many books at once because y'all, like okay, maybe not this one. And then the Sheila Heti, if I still have a picture of it here. Y'all, life is so beautiful. Books are beautiful. God, thank you for being here and thank you for reading. If you're reading, thank you. Like, people around me, not a lot of them do it. It's just another stretch of life, I think. Hidden, invisible, is doing a lot for the soul, I think. I appreciate when people look for that blind spot and flesh out their peripheries. So thank you, really, for reading. Reading is sexy. Pick up a goddamn book. I swear to God. Anyway, love y'all. Be well. Do good work. Keep in touch.